to all of you. Welcome to our show. Today, we are honored to have our special discussion and the special edition where we have influential policymakers and personalities of influence from our society participate with us and help us to address some concerns that we might have. Today, we are honored to have a discussion with the Honorable Minister of Labor in the government of South Sudan. And before I introduce him, our topic of discussion, I would like to remind you, is on prospects for labor reforms and addressing issues of employment for youth and women in South Sudan. Today, I would welcome Honorable General James Oth Mai. General James Oth Mai, to start with just a brief biography about him, hails from Ulang County in Upper Nile State. He joined Nasir Primary in 1968 and then Jonglei Secondary School in 1975. He completed his high school and obtained Sudan School Certificate in 1980. He joined the SPLA Liberation Movement and was a member of the SPLA in 1983 as a young man. He rose through different commands to the rank of a full general and was actively involved in different fronts. He attended in 1984 the War College and graduated in 1985 as second lieutenant and advanced military training for battalion and brigadier commanders in Havana, Cuba in 1986. Like I mentioned, he has served in various capacities throughout the liberation struggle, commanding forces in Torit East, Eastern Sudan, Western Blue Nile, the Northeastern Upper Nile Command, and various other postings that he was part of. General Oth Mai was also one of the key negotiators during the CPA in Nairobi, Kenya, and he started out being appointed as Deputy Chief of General Staff for Logistics and then shifted to Deputy Chief of General Staff for Operations in 2007. Following that, he was promoted and appointed Chief of General Staff of the SPLA in May 2009, and then to a full general in July 2010. While fighting in the liberation studies, in the liberation war, he continued pursuing his education and obtained a certificate in project planning and management. He joined Fort Hare University in 1999 and obtained a master's in 2009 in public administration from the School of Management and Commerce. In addition to that, he has had various other trainings, but of late, he has been an active member of the government of South Sudan, where he served initially as the Minister of Labor and Public Service, when it was one ministry with human resource development. And recently, in 2020, he was appointed the Minister of Labor. Honorable General James Oth Mai, you are most welcome to our show this afternoon. You are on mute.
Oh, I'm on mute. How do I unmute?
Yes, it's now working.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
You can hear me now? Okay. Yeah, I say thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Angit, and the view of this program. I really delighted and very happy to be hosted by our capable women, the South Sudanese Women Intellectual Forums. And I like the theme that together we can. I think this is a big word, is not a simple one. And should we go with that one, I think we will be sure that we will have a South Sudan who is really prosperous and will develop quickly if all of us we can. And I'm sure we can. So thank you very much for hosting me this afternoon. Back to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your words of encouragement and for agreeing to be our guest today. As I mentioned earlier, the labor issues we have in our country, South Sudan, are many. We have a lot of concerns as citizens because when we look at our country today, there are lots of issues facing youth in the employment sector, and women too are facing a lot of discrimination in the employment sector. Being the ministry that is mandated to oversee the labor sector, we would like to understand more. First, what are the salient features of the labor law of South Sudan? Thank you. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as the Minister of Labor, labor is dealing with private sector. That's why when they were to labor and public service, the labor is completely dealing with private sector, and the public service dealing with public. And as you, all of us, we are aware that all the countries that are built by private sector, not the public sector, because public sector is a small number, and government employment cannot take everybody. And where they are, there is money. It is in private sector. And with us, we have our Labor Act that is specified all type of job that we are supposed to run and the protection of our workers. In our Labor Act, we really have everything there, but we have not translated those act into policies and programs. And this is today is the work of the ministry. Of course, we are very much aware that as a ministry, we must make sure that we create jobs. And before you create jobs, you must make sure that also you have a trained employees. Because if you create jobs and you don't have a manpower to run those jobs, this also will be a nightmare. So both we are working on development of skills and availability of jobs. So this is what is work of Minister of Labor, and as well as protecting the employees and the work, the employer and the workers. It is also a mandate of the ministry to protect all of them. We can say we are mediators. We don't take side. We come in as mediators, protecting the workers and the employer. So it is really our work, and I think generally, and then now we will go to a specific area where you want to know, but generally, it is the work of labor that must make sure that we have skills and then jobs themselves. But now I think we can go now to the specific question that you can ask so that we are guided. Back
Okay,
to you,
thank you
Amir.
very much. Your Thank you very much. The reason we wanted to know what the law says is because when we look at our country, South Sudan, and compare it with neighboring countries in the same region or facing the same realities that we live, we feel often that our people are kind of undermined in their own country. When we look at our unemployment rates, which I have been verifying with the National Bureau of Statistics, we have very high unemployment in our country. In addition to that, lots of high level positions are currently being held by foreigners in South Sudan, which is why we wanted to know first what the law says in terms of jobs specifically reserved for nationals. Because when you look at the labor market, we have foreigners in every aspect, in every profession, be it low level positions or even high level positions. So, what is your ministry doing to try to address this matter? Over to you.
Much, the labor law says 80% of any employment, any company that will employ people, and it's specifically with the NGOs and companies, 80% should come from nationals. This is very clear in our law. And 20% also, we have to compete also as a nationals in this 20%. The question is here, and I have to be very frank with you. Up to today, we don't have really data that show the level even of unemployment and how many foreigners are occupying. We don't have. So the first thing we are doing now to address the issue in our act is to do labor market assessment, which we have already started, because exactly we want to know the number of people, nationals, the number of foreigners. This is number one. The qualifications and the job they are holding and the salaries, because there is a lot of disparity of the salaries. And I could see one of your question there. So we are collecting this information so that it will guide us to take decision and to implement our act. So the first thing we are doing now, which is also very tedious, we are collecting data of what we call labor market assessment. All the companies, the NGOs, hotels, banks, you name them, including the informal sector, those who have shops, those who are selling tomatoes and what, we want to know them. And it is true, you are right, we must control our labor market as Southerners. Because now if you go to our neighbors countries, you will not get people who are selling this is small thing on the street, foreigners, you will not get. But here in South Sudan, it is in a very big number. Everywhere in our state, you go to Barghazal, you go up to Abyei, you will get foreigners selling these small things on the street. Because we have not put measures, we have not translated our act into policies so that everybody knows. And we say the first thing we want to do, we have to know exactly the information so that we take measures on this. And then the second one, also in 20%, we have something we call labor market opinion. Now, if there is a job that is advertised for foreigners, it is a ministry that will analyze that position, whether we can have a qualified people or not. If we have qualified people that can hold that first, and then we will have an opinion and we will tell those people that we don't need anybody else. You recruit locally here. We are doing this, and then we are also putting a database where we want all the information of all the Southerners, graduates, anywhere in this world. All right? We are opening our website. We will send it to everybody. You are a graduate, please send your CV to us here. We will keep it here. Once the NGOs or anybody who want to advertise, we want a recruitment, and then they come to us to come and approve the advertisement. We will look into these positions, and we will go into our database, seeing the qualification of people that we have, and then we will tell them these are people, select from this group. So, but for us to do this, we need really to collect information so that we will help our people. Also, what we are doing also, we say it's okay for protection of our people so that they get jobs. We are now commissioning some companies that will deal with the recruitment and training, private companies. And we will make everybody to go through those companies. It will not be up to everybody to go and look for people on the street or whatever. So that those companies will be responsible to recruit and to train. We will work with them. We will see the gap because we will every time we will make assessment of the market. If there is a gap here, we will work with those companies, and then they train people. They train people, and then those who want to recruit, they will do it through those companies, and then we will be, of course, working with them as a ministry. So this is what actually we are trying to do, and because there is nothing that I got in the labor, we will have to start putting policies and programs now. Where to you, Amir?
Thank you very much, Honorable, for your intervention. And just to follow on what you said, I have a couple of questions that come to mind. In terms of disparities in wages that we see over here, is there a minimum wage that has been set by the government? And do you regulate what nationals get paid and internationals in the private sector? This is one question. Another concern that I have is in relation to the last point you mentioned about contracting a private company to deal with recruitment and training of employees. As a regulatory institution which has oversight over the body, wouldn't you be more best placed to handle this function than contracting an outsider or outsourcing the function to a private company to do it? My reason for asking this is because there is always a risk of the companies being influenced. Being a private company, they can be easily influenced by other individuals or other institutions for their personal interests. And we would be back to square one, where we have issues of people from certain tribes getting opportunities while others are denied, and then lots of irregularities setting in. So these are my two main questions. Is there a minimum wage? And then secondly, why contract the function out when the government should have the oversight role to do it? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Angit. The minimum wage is up to today. We don't have a minimum wage that is set by the government. Nothing. And now we are working on it. We have already contracted somebody who will work with us, a consultant, who will work with us to put the minimum wages. Up to now, it is not there, and that's why we have really a lot of disparity when it comes to salaries, and we have a problem there. So we are now doing it because of COVID-19. Everything is not going the way we want it, but we are working on that to put the minimum wages. Up to now, we don't. We don't have anybody decided on his own or her own in her or his company. So we don't have that one, and we are working on it. It is something that we will correct, because even the information that we gather now, it's telling us this disparity, and we have seen it, whether in terms of salaries, whether in terms of qualification. We found some of areas where a diploma is oversighting on our master degree holders people. So it is something that we got now. So we are going to analyze the whole exercise. We will analyze, and then we will come up with a correct policies, and then by then the minimum wages will be ready. Otherwise, we don't have anything now with what, but is on the pipeline. We are working on it. As for parameterizing the recruitment, yes, we discussed this, and we ask ourselves the same question that you are asking. But we say we will be there because part of even transparency, because in the ministry, as a government, dealing with private, these private people that are profit oriented. It's not like public service. All right? And therefore, with these companies, this is their work. And we will be there, we are watching them. Because when there are when people ask for recruitment, it is the ministry that will approve. They don't just do it there alone. And we have to have a mechanism where we have to follow them. But we analyze by doing so, because we are dealing with private, those who have right, company want to recruit, they don't want to recruit, it is their right. So we say it is better we do it that way. Because now what we found now, Madam Angit, when it comes to NGO sector, NGO sector, there's a lot of problems. All right. If an NGO is coming from a certain area, you will get all the employees, they come from that area. Simply because people don't even advertise. Somebody who is a human resource person there, or somebody big from that, he will just inform his or her colleague or relatives. And we say this one cannot work. What people try to do, we say, let the human resource person be a national from South Sudan, so that we can control. We made it worse. It is even worse. And we may even consider it to outsource it even to somebody else, because now whatever we want to resolve, we could not resolve it in that. But it is a problem. And that's why we say, let us trying to get a company who is a private, because this is where they get even their money. Should they misbehave, they are going to lose even their jobs. And I want to also inform you that it is the whole practice. Even if you go to first world there, most of the recruitment is done by private companies. The government actually outsource this one to private companies. Sometimes the government helps this private company to set up a company and give them financial, and then they do the recruitment on behalf of the government. Of course, the government have to watch them. Also, what we are doing also, we are trying to help our people, the job seekers, to get jobs. As a ministry now, we are setting a information center where we will put computers, we will have internet, we will have everything, and then our people will go. It is free. If you want to go and browse, you see other, you can even apply online, and we are working on that. Actually, we are working on that so that we help our people, and we think that by doing so, at least transparency will be there. We will control, of course, as a regulatory body. We will still monitor those companies. But we analyze it and we found out that it is a practice now worldwide. Back to you, Anil.
Thank you, Honorable, for your response to my query. And when I look at the practice around the region and through experiences that we got while working both in the private and the public sector in various countries, the tendency is to give the oversight role back to the government and have a centralized recruitment body run by the government oversee this function. But I will leave it at that. Although I still would like to ask another question, which is linked to it. Does the ministry have any policy on localization? Because setting the number of 80% as we agreed is one thing, but implementing it is something that we have had difficulty with. Some countries, and I can give an example of Botswana, for example, they have a policy where they phase out all foreign workers after serving for a number of years with no recourse for renewal of their contracts. So, does South Sudan plan to have any such policy? And I'm stressing this because South Sudan does have qualified people, both here and in the diaspora, who can take up these positions, unlike Botswana, that is still building the capacity of its locals. So, what policy does the government have to ensure that foreign workers are phased out of the system to open the way for South Sudanese professionals, qualified professionals, to take up these positions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Let me go back to your questions. The centralization of recruitment. What we did in public service, it is centralized, but in private sector, where you are dealing with business people, it is difficult to centralize the recruitment because they recruit themselves. And what we did as a regulatory ministry is that they have to seek the approval when they are recruiting. It is the Ministry of Labor that gave the approval. They ask so that we know what is happening there, and then we let them to recruit and we have to make sure that they recruit fairly and in transparency way. So centralized and public service is okay, it's possible, but with private sector is not possible. But we, of course, we have to oversee what they are doing. Now, when it comes to these policies, we in Labor Act 2017 said it very clear. Any positions, any company, NGOs, 80% should be national. But before I come to international, we got a problem in this 80% national. We have a problem also. And actually, we did a recruitment guideline. We did it in 2018. We did a recruitment guideline. What we have here in 80% is that 80% national, South Sudanese all. But our people could not take this one down well. And they think 80% is only people where the NGOs is. All right? And we say no. Because what happened? When we were developing our recruitment guideline, which we did, we have a booklet, a small booklet. We're trying to get a soft copy where we can send you. What we said in this 80%, we have three categories where you will not recruit from outside. Three. One, the drivers must come from local where that company is, the NGOs, especially in the NGO sector. And the second one is the cleaners. They must come from the same area. And then the guards. These three categories, there is no way you will bring them from outside because this is a job that can be run by anybody. But the rest who are technical, if you have somebody, for example, if we want nurses, if there's a nurse in that area and then that person have a priority, it will be taken first. But what happened if there is nobody who is a nurse in that area? So you have to bring it from outside of that area. You can bring it from a well, from NASA, from anywhere, and you can well because it's a technical. You see, and we have a booklet that we have developed to guide us. All right, this is what actually we are doing. And the third, the last part of your question, as I said before, that we are collecting labor market assessment. This is where we are coming to analyze, and we will see all the positions held by foreigners and qualification, and then us here. Because as I said, we have labor market opinion. If it is position that can be run by our people and that qualification is we can get it in South Sudan, we will make it very clear that we don't need any foreigner there. But as I said, we are collecting data so that those data, when it is collected, then it will inform us to take actually a correct decision. But we have policies that moving toward what you asked. We will say pay them out, and training also it is part of our priorities, and we are forcing them to develop the capacity of those who are working there, because tomorrow they will have to pay them out, and it is really a must to us to do that, unless there is something which is not we cannot get it. And also, when it comes to NGO sector, you see, it involves politics. You will get funders, donors, donors to them. And you know it very well, they donate money and they send their people to work here because they have problem there behind there. They have unemployment. They want to employ their people. So they will tell you that you people, this is our money, and at least we need to. You don't have a capacity. We need somebody who will run our money. We do transparency. It is money collected from our taxpayers, and we must know where this money is going. And they will give you so many things. We say it's okay. It will be within this 20%. All right. They will not touch this 80%. And also we sometimes we are flexible in those areas so that they continue giving us services that our people need. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Just to take a question from members of our audience, Mr. Peter Madit is asking that within South Sudan we have about 530 NGOs, according to the latest statistics that he got. What is the limit of NGOs that the government should allow to operate in the country? This is the question he's asking because he says there is no improvement that he has noticed in terms of poverty reduction and health improvement in South Sudan. So, does the government have a limit on the number of NGOs that can operate and their areas of intervention? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, we have, of course, 500 and maybe not 30, but we have over 500 NGOs here, international and national. All right, we have 100 or something international and 400 and something national. We have not put any policies regarding that. That we need a certain number of NGOs that will work in the country is not there. We have not put it. But what is important that we are going to consider, it is not there now. The NGOs, we will make sure that they don't choose the area where they want to work. Some of them now, they will tell you, I want to go and work in Abia. All right? But you might have 10 or 20 NGOs in Abia. All right, which mean that you have to shift some of the NGOs into other areas. So we will also work on that. We are working on the policies, as I say. We have to do that. We will not give them a right to choose wherever they want to work. This is what we will control from that. And yes, as I say, there is no policy that limiting the certain number of NGOs that will work in the country. But you know what I want to say, Madam Angit and for Peter. I think if you take the current situation of our country, we are surviving, I would say, leave alone food that we are eating. But some we are surviving, you see, from the NGOs. If you take the health sector, with all our problems, with our economy, the NGOs are playing a very big role now, giving services to our people. And I have to admit this. Schools, now they are paying incentive. We are 6 months now or so without salaries. But the NGOs decided to give incentive to our teachers so that they continue teaching our children. All right? It is not enough, of course, and we cannot rely as a country on somebody else. But with our security situation, with our turmoil in our security and our politics, so it is difficult for us now to settle down. That's why we have almost a zero economy, although we are still surviving. But our economy is very bad. And if the economy is very bad and the insecurity is everywhere, you cannot think of giving really good services to our people. But NGOs now they are trying, and until we settle this political dust, everything will still depend on the NGOs. They are actually giving us the most needed services to our people now. So, but we will consider what they say. If time will come, We may say even we don't want NGOs. If our economy is up to date, we give services to health services to our people, maybe we don't need anybody. But with our situation now, we need them. We need them. But we need to control them. As I say, we have to show them where they can go and work. If we have 5 NGOs in one place, then you can shift the rest into those places who have no NGOs. Back to you.
Thank you, Honorable, for your response. I want to shift the discussion to a particular audience and a substantial portion of our population, and that is the women. As women, a lot of us feel that we are marginalized when it comes to the employment sector. A lot of women fail to get positions within the private sector in high or managerial. Even middle level women positions are denied to women. And this is where I would like to ask, how do you enforce a policy of ensuring that a certain percentage of positions, not just any position, but senior level position, are reserved exclusively for women? Within government, we have a policy of 35%, but in the private sector, how do you enforce that? Over to you.
And you know what I said, in public service, it is fine. 35% is there, and people have to work for women to get satisfied. You know, when I was a senior minister of public service, I did what we call head count. Our analysis in the head count were that almost we were 1-to-1 in public service. The women number is big. All right, I think they were 30, near to 40, 30 something percent. And then the men, I think, at 40 or 41, which was okay. But yes, in senior position, they were not there. We found out that we were having about around 18 PhD holder working in public service. That are all men. They were 19 with, you remember, with Mom Julia, but Julia retired from public service. So we have 18 people who are men, and we were asking ourselves, now don't we have women who have PhDs, all right? And we have now with private sector. With private sector, as I said, we need as a government to approach the private sector differently from the one of the government, because as I said, the private sector oriented toward profit orientation. Now, you cannot go and tell a company that I need you only to employ women in this position. Although ours is influence, okay? At least to make sure that our women are employed, especially in private sector. Because private sector need qualification, which is really very important. And now with us, when you take the hotel sector, what we are encouraging now and we are going to do is that we are opening very soon a training on catering and tourism. And we are encouraging women, especially dropout girl from senior school. We need them more than men. All right, so that we train them, we can give them catering and tourism. All right, we will encourage them. And we have now a vocational center in Aluagluag, and you know it, and it was meant only for women, so that at least we really need to raise the capacity, their skills, so that they also compete in the market, which is really very, very, very important. With us, we do it indirectly with our private sectors, and we encourage them that please you take ladies, but we cannot make it like the one and public service, because public service is a government service, and we control it, But we are very mindful that we really need our women to work. We are very mindful. We are going to graduate, I think, on the 11th or 12th, a vocational training center that we have conducted here in Juba, about 595. Out of it, almost 500 are women. All right? And this is what we are doing in Bor. This is what we are doing in Yambio. This is what we are doing in Torit. In Torit, now you can have a yogurt, you can have a cheese in Torit now. The women are trained, almost 90% are women. And this is what informal, of course, education, as you know, vocational training center. At least for somebody to start her actually business and sustain her family. So the 35% is good in the possible 100% in public service, but in private sector we have to train. We have to make sure that we have qualified women where the the companies can take them. It is good also. We are encouraging in especially the banking sector. We talk with them. We encourage them that we have qualified women, and then you have to take them. So this is what actually it is tricky, and there is nothing that you can do 100% that you must do this like the public sector. It's difficult. Back to you.
Thank you. It is true that at least in the banking sector, it has been working, and I'm a testament to that because the Central Bank of South Sudan does have a policy where not only do the board or the management team of banks have to have South Sudanese, but they are also compelled to have women in the leadership positions. And I remember I was head of HR for KCB, and it was on the insistence of the central bank that I was able to compete and also get that position. Within the workplace, there are lots of issues that we face as women. Among some of the rights of women that might be denied are women's rights. There are lots of issues that we face as women. Among some of the sorry.
Sorry, yeah. Come back again, Angel.
Yes, sorry. I said in the workplace, there are lots of issues that we face as women, and which we feel, even though the law mentions that we have the same rights, we are denied those rights. For example, within the private institutions, rights to promotion, women suffer. When you take maternity leave, they are not entitled to the same dates that you would normally be entitled to working in the public sector, and so many other vices, among them sexual harassment in the workplace. My question is, how does the ministry ensure that the rights of women in the private sector are upheld and that any mistreatment that they face in the private sector are brought to the right authorities to deal with? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think for the promotions, as I said before, that we are encouraging the private sector to train. It's not just you are put there somewhere there, but you have to be trained. Your capacity has to be improved, and that one goes with, of course, with promotions. And you are right. These are things that we really need to monitor. And for us, when we initiated this labor market assessment, also we are looking into this. We are looking into this. When we analyze, we will know the women who are really working in those any sector and how long they have worked there. It is something that will help us really, so that we control this promotion, and we have to protect. Them. And then with, of course, public service, public sector, it is very obvious, and we have some problem here, but in our last head count, we found out that there is so many gaps that we really need to close between men and women, especially when it comes to promotions. And promotion, actually, not women alone in public service now. It is not politicized. It is tribalized, and promotion doesn't go the way it is. Which the public service now is working to you see to correct it now. So it is a general problem with us in the labor. We have to make sure that all get right. They are right. There's no way that they will deny them. With maternity leave, of course, it is a right, and it is in our act from 3 to 6 months, and it is a must. In private sector, it's not difficult. All right, it's good. We have problem in government, which when I was there also we advise some institution that is a right of everybody, even going for your leave. This is a must, and we are implementing it actually now. Maternity leave is a must, and even paternity leave, leave alone the maternity leave, is a must. And suppose also they are supposed to have even money, which we are not actually getting. Because when you are going for annual leave, it is a rule even in public service that you are giving ticket with your spouse and children. You are giving ticket. We are not doing now, all right? But it is a right, and we raise it seriously that we have to do that. The question is, even if you want to do it, where is the money? All right, if you can stay for 6 months and 4 months, no salaries. So it is a problem, but it is a right, which we are putting it as a policy, and we are going to give it to all the institutions. It's a must, whether in the private or in public sector. For harassment, of course, it is forbidden, and just we need, and we have been telling people, please, if there's any such cases, report it, because people have to know, because people have to take measures. Is we are colleagues, you are working in the same department. You are just the same, and should anything happen like that, I think if it is reported, there's a lot of very severe punishment on that, and which we have to do it. And of course, our culture is still dominating, but we have to reach there. We have to be there. That's why it is very important that we need to put strict policies. As I said before, we have the act. Everything is detailed there, but you need to translate this act into policies, programs, so that it is implemented. And also we have asked UNDP to provide a consultant for us to work on this together with minimal wages and employment also policies. It is not the Ribbon Act. We don't have employment act. We are also working on it so that we have the act, and act will detail thing that is not in the labor act. All right. So, but it is true. It is right, and we have to really implement. Yes, I will say yes. The women they are getting problems, but we need them also to be for them to be very courageous, at least to report whatever happened to them. Sometimes, in our culture, anything happened to you there, you are shy. I report this at my family, my what. But people really need to be courageous so that they report if such things happen. That to you.
Thank you. Thank you. It is true that we do need regulations to the Act to help translate the laws and ensure that enforcement happens. And coming to the question of enforcement of the law, which will help address some of the vices that I mentioned, are the labor courts currently operational within the Ministry of Labor and Public Service? Thank you.
Well, we have some problem. In 2018, I sent a request to our Chief Justice asking to establish the labor court there. All right, the labor court. It is not functional now. It is not working. What is happening now when the employee and employer have a problem, they come to us. As I say, the labor, we are neutral. We call them, we listen to them separately, we call them together, and we were trying to resolve that problem amicably without going to court. We encourage them don't go to court. Let us resolve it. And so many issues we have resolved them. But some issues were not resolved, and we referred them to court. That's why I asked the Chief Justice to establish this labor court. It's not there now. It is not established. And so the Chief Justice was telling me now who is going to do this, and so many things. So we are relying on now, if you have a problem, you go and hire a lawyer, and they see cases. So the labor court is not working now. Back to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now to move to a very important area is with regards to the diaspora. I would like to just have us discuss a bit on diaspora engagement and employment. All over the world, and specifically on the African continent, countries rely on members of their diaspora to help jumpstart their economies. So my question to you is there any diaspora engagement program within the government of South Sudan? Sorry, you're on mute. Yeah.
I said as present, not. We don't have actually, I don't know whether I have not seen any. But diaspora, of course, they come individually. And those who are lucky, they are working. If you are not lucky and then you stay there, you are frustrated and then you go back. All right? But now what we are doing now as a Minister of Labor now, as I said before, we are establishing a database where we will engage all the diaspora people. We will engage them. We want to put their data here with us. And then the area where we need them, we will engage with them. Because when we have the information about everybody there, we will help them even getting job from here. And it is a must that we must engage them. Diaspora, there are people who can really generate a lot of money to the country. And if you ask yourself, Bangit, if you go now to any corner of Juba now, you will get there is no idle market. The market all over Juba here, or even in the state, they are very busy. And people, we don't have money, we don't have salaries. And if you ask yourself, where do we get money for this market to operate? It is from diaspora. A diaspora, somebody will send $50, $100, $200, 1,000. You can see how many people outside sending money to their relatives here. So you will get, they're really indirectly, without them knowing it, they're actually improving when our economy here. All right? But it is a policy of the Minister of Labor now to have a direct engagement. That's why we are open even our website so that they have access to the ministry here. All right? And we have to do this. That one is not there, but we will make it official that we will have to deal with diaspora. We have to have a direct, and those even who want to make business here with their companies, we have to help them so that they come to work in South Sudan. So we are very keen to establish that link, and it will help us. I think these are very important people. I say it goes also. They improve the economy, but sometimes they destroy the country also. You see all this rebellion and what they help rebellion. You see, they give them money, they give them everything, so they can destroy and they can build. And that's why we have to have a very direct engagement with them so that you avoid any sort of destruction and you lure them into development. Because at the end of the day, if you are a business person, you are going to benefit. And if you are benefiting, it will not cause problem. So, but I think it is important area where we really need to engage them. And it is our program that we must engage them. That's why we are setting this database. Back to you.
Thank you. Just to follow on this issue of diaspora, just as we have our diaspora who have shown a very keen interest right after independence, we had a lot of people voluntarily return to the country with the intention of contributing their skills, their money towards the development of our country. But unfortunately, with the outbreak of war and the disappointments they face, a big number return back to the countries where they are, where they took up citizenship and continue to pay taxes. So, in the same way that we have our diaspora who had come and were trying to help us, we have diasporans for other countries, for Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, and so many nationalities who are here. I would call them diaspora now because they are here, but they still consider themselves active contributors to their countries. When you go to Kenya, a lot of people are reinvesting the money they're taking from South Sudan into their economy in Kenya. And the same is happening in Ethiopia and Uganda and so on. So their countries are benefiting in the same way that we are benefiting indirectly from our diaspora. However, are they paying taxes to us here in South Sudan? Is there a means by which their stay in South Sudan is regulated? Because for a fact, it is known most of them do not have even the legal papers to stay in South Sudan. So how does the ministry plan to address this issue?
This labor market assessment is to know exactly, and the few data we collected has shown us that we have so many foreigners here in South Sudan who are even leave alone visa. They don't have even passport, and they're saying with us here. Yes, if they are coming as business people, they have to pay taxes. Of course, we have law about taxation here, and they are not exempted. They have to pay. With the work permit, of course, they have to pay work permit, but they have been actually, you see, dodging. And one of the major problem here in our country is that you will get all these foreigners being protected by our nationals. And now, with the data we are collecting, it's showing us that, of course, we are not going to stop there. We have to subject them to pay our work permit and also taxes. I don't know what the taxation is doing to them, but with us, we have so many people who are not paying work permit, because we don't get them. But with this assessment we are doing, we will get them. We will get them, and they have to do that. And as we discussed it before, there are so many jobs that we will phase out the foreigners, and then it is left for our nationals here. But unless we have to change our mentality, the way we behave, we the South Sudanese, and our people. There are certain jobs they don't want to do. Very lazy people, I would say. Not everybody. Okay, it happened to us when I was still in the army. We have soldiers wounded, but they are strong. They can do small things there that they cannot do this work being done by the army. We form them into a company, security company, where other people recruit them, or and then they take them. You know, some of them return back to the military there because they said, yeah, you see, you take us, we are going to open a door, you close it in the hotel, you open, you close it. This is not, we fought for this. And you see, they return to the army. And they were getting more money in those companies than in the army. You see, we have a case also. We have really to train, and this is what we got actually in the Ministry of Labor. And we said we really need to orient our people. We have to train them and tool where you can have even better life. It is in private sector. It is not in the government. So these are things that we are moving towards it. So after we finish from this assessment, exactly we will address what you are telling us. There are so many jobs that are not supposed to be taken care by foreigners completely. But after we get the information, I think we will have now our decision that will inform our policies. And you know, sometime I don't know, it happened. I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was North Kolong. You remember? I don't know whether it was your time or North Kolong when trying to say these foreigners, and it was around somewhere there. They have to stop it. So, but with information, correct information that in our hand, and I think we will be in a better position to make sure that things goes as we plan real in South Sudan. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, Having exhausted the topic on the diaspora, I would like to raise a concern, and this has to do with the issue of social insurance and pension fund for private sector employees. Within public service, we have the South Sudan Pension Fund set up. Unfortunately, for the private sector employees, there's no fund in place to address issues of pension. However, most private sector institutions, the companies, the NGOs, have been deducting as well as contributing towards payment of pensions for employees once they leave the institution at the time of retirement. With NGOs, it might be easier to follow. However, my concern is with the smaller private companies, the small businesses. How do we make sure that money is reserved for the employees and they get their due benefits at the time of retirement? So, this is the first part of my question, ensuring that employees in the private sector have social security through retirement benefit. The second part is on health insurance for employees. Within certain occupations, we have concerns about occupational health and safety. Despite the fact that it's mentioned in the law, medical insurance is not something a lot of employees benefit from in the private sector. So, what is the government doing to ensure that the law is there and in place for the establishment of the social insurance fund and the medical insurance for private sector employees? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a very good question and it's direct. Uh, you know, with public service, civil servant, they have the pension scheme is set up. There's no problem at all, and there's money there. They are paying now those who were retired in Khartoum. They are paying them now, and we are going to retire about 600 and something here in South Sudan. They have their money. I think this is set up. There's no problem there. But when it comes to social insurance, you know, since I came, it was one of my concerns in 2018. But I found that the bill was the Minister of Justice almost for 5 years. I think during your time, it was sent there. It is only recently we have to work hard almost 2 years. Now it is presented to Council of Ministers because there is no way for us to set up this body without law. And we said we cannot risk. We have to get first the act, and then now we will inform. Now the bill now it is presented, is not yet discussed in the Council of Ministers. And then after that, we are going to form the body, the social insurance scheme. We will form it, and then we will collect money. Leave alone that we are now, as a country, we are losing million of dollars because these are money. If it is collected, people they don't go to pension in the same day. Those who are still there, this money it is invest. The workers benefit from it. When there's dividends, then it is divided to them. But the government benefit from it, and you control even your market because you are talking millions of dollars in the central bank. So we have a very serious problem now. The money is being kept; it is there. They cut it 25%. The employer 17%, and the employee 8%. It is collected, but it is being kept by individual institutions. All right, it is with them. They keep it even out of the country. It means that we are not even benefiting from this money. Okay, so very soon we are going to set up that body if the bill is passed, and then we will collect, we will inform, because they are supposed every month they have to remit that 25% into the central bank, because they will have their they will have a blog account there where they manage this social insurance money. Up to now, there's nothing. We are not collecting. We are not taking from anywhere because there's no law that will tell us to do this, and there will be no actually protection, whether from us or even from the employers. So the NGOs, the companies, whoever collecting, they are the one benefiting from it, and they are keeping this money outside of the country. For health, yes, I think there is in the workplaces, yeah, they have majority of them, even in banking sector. We have a problem in hotel. I have not seen, because the preliminary result of our data collection tell us that most of the hotel they don't give insurance into our employees, but banking they give, the oil company they give, and then even the NGOs they give. But we have not we will guide them, all right, because we are now we will guide them. The same they are keeping this the money outside, and they sometimes they don't send even our people. We have some problem there. It is raised, and we are working on it. You know, our problem here in South Sudan is that we are working as if fearing other people, and we don't want our law to be implemented the way they are. And sometimes when you want to pressurize people, and politicians will come to your neck, no, 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 don't cause problem to us. But we say it now, there's no way, we have to do it, and this is the only way that we can do it. So health insurance, yes, some companies are doing it, and we will make it that the point that any private sector must make sure that they have a health insurance to these people. Yeah, last part of it, the health and safety. It is a problem now. It is one of our major undertaking in the ministry. We have also we are contracting a consultant on this, because there is no law at all, nothing. So we are actually establishing law. We have to have an act on this, because we have to make sure that our people are working in a very good environment, whether in the public or in private. You know, I have seen, because it's part of my work. Whenever I go to hotel, the first thing I actually see is whether these people are safe or not. Are they using collapse? Are they using what? At least 70, and you don't get them. Nothing. So there are people completely they are not safe. And even in our public service, if you go to offices, you will get the condition where our official working is not good. All right. So, but we say let us develop policies, and we have to make act on health and safety. And we are working on it now. UNDP is providing a consultant, and then we have to come up with these policies. So there was nothing, so, but it is important. We have to protect our people. They have to work in a very good environment and its surrounding. So but it is important that it is done as soon as possible. Back to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I have talked at length about women, but I want to shift the gear a bit and focus on youth. Yes. And the reason I choose to focus on youth is that South Sudan is a country that is predominantly populated by young people. And a major complaint young people have is that they are not getting opportunities. First, because the field is a bit narrow for them to be able to access opportunities, since foreign employees are taking some of the jobs which should rightfully be occupied by them. We have also a situation where the older generation is refusing to be phased out and to make room for them to come in and take up these jobs. So, what succession plans do you have within the ministry to open up opportunities for younger generation to come in with the knowledge? Because let's admit it, we have a very educated youth who unfortunately are forced to sit under trees drinking tea the whole day. Some are willing to take up any opportunities that are there, but are denied the opportunities by the two reasons that I mentioned, that the field is filled up by foreign workers and other older generations. So over to you on the strategies that you are putting in place to enable them to compete and take over employment.
Thank you very much, Madam Angit. I think it is our youth, 72 or 70% of our population. And these are people who are causing us a problem because now it is very easy. You can mobilize them because they're idle. They don't have anything to do. And whenever a politician disagree somewhere, there are very easy mobilized to fight a political war. And for us, the future of this country depends on youth because youth, they come and other people come. Change is there, and we have to change. What we are doing as a ministry, one, we have about 7 vocational training centers, and we have really trained people, especially youth and women. Of course, when we are talking of youth, women are there. We have so many girls there, all right? But this is our focus. We train, as I said before, we are going to graduate, I think next week, about 595. Out of these 595, of course, most of them are youth. 400 of them are women. So we are giving them skills. We are training them. We have training center in Bor. We have one in Juba here. We have one in Torit. We have one in Yambio. We have one in Awil. We have one in Rambek. And Malakal is going to be very soon open. We have one in Maban, but we had a serious problem in Maban because last time they burned down the center because of a small problem. But we are going to reopen it. And we are, wow, also we have, and we are aspiring to open more so that we can give skill for those who will make even their own business. And we agree with UNDP and other donors that we will give them a kit for them to start their businesses. We are targeting youth and women. This is a program that we are doing now, and we have really trained so many people. The market now is full of those people, carpenters, electricians, uh, and so many of them. All right. So this is an area where we are really concentrating, and we are working with UNDP closely, with UNIDO, Netherlands, and that are funding our program. Recently, we are having program with African Development Bank. We will train. Now we are also, as a ministry, we are training. We will start very soon with hotel association, the catering and tourism. We are going to train people because we have to make sure that the hotel industry, it is controlled by South Sudanese. If you ask them now, they will tell you that we don't have qualified people. And we are doing that, and we are targeting, of course, youth. And with other positions, it is true, our observation is just like what you asked, but we say it before we take any action. Let us try to know exactly what is happening there. Labor market assessment will give us that opportunity, and we have to help our youth because we are going to identify areas where we really need to employ our youth. It is there is a problem there, and you can see from very far, but because we don't have it, detailed information, we say let us do this, and then now we are going to take action. All right. And that is our policy direction as a ministry, that we must make sure that youth get employment. We are working together with Ministry of Youth and Sport and Gender. We are working together as a team, and then tourism. We are working actually as a team. But not because the old people they don't want to go, and they don't want to leave room for young people. Because you see, even our villages, the work is divided. The work is divided. You have work for youth, you have work for young people, you have work even for girls, even in our villages. Not because people are refusing, but our major problem is this insecurity. Because the public service alone will not take care of anybody here. And there is no way for investment to flourish, completely because insecurity. Now, if we have companies, big companies, factories, it will take most of our people. But those things are not there. People now are depending only on the government. And that's why you get in the army there, everybody is there. In police, everybody is there. Because it's the only easy it's only easy place where you can get employed very quickly. It doesn't need anything. But the rest is not there. So if now we stabilize the country and we have the security, then we invite the investors to come. Most of our users will work. This is one of our problems here in this country. Insecurity also is making it difficult. Letting the youth to be even criminal. Because in the villages, Galweng, Yejimbor, this White Army, you name them. You have Toronto, you have what, all this. Because there's nothing, they are not doing anything. They no job, they are not engaged. They know school, there is no any other businesses. So, but it is our work that we have to make sure we find job for our youth, whether through vocational training centers or through these NGOs or others companies when we finish from this labor market assessment. And it is done actually. We want to answer this also so that we can see. We found that some people from outside, they come as mechanics, they come as carpenters, they come as what? Things that our people can do here, So Uh, you are right, but you know it will take us just a while. We will take us a while because when you want to change things, change always is problematic, even for our people. This confusion, some people are benefiting from it and they will resist, and you know it very well. When you want to change, people will resist. But of course, we have a tool to manage the resisting of change. We have to manage it. But we are moving toward that direction. We have to make sure that we really get job for our youth. That too.
Thank you very much. On the topic of jobs, I last month saw some advertisements that were being run on SSBC for positions within your ministry. And as soon as I saw the advert, I encouraged a lot of people to apply and compete for those positions. Unfortunately, the people I told to apply said, no, those positions finas wedi lomon kalas. There are people who have already been earmarked to be given those positions. So in view of such an accusation, what answer do you have for the South Sudanese who have lost hope of getting jobs within government institutions and private sector because of nepotism?
Yeah, thank you, thank you. You
Over
know,
to
these
you.
are those who are saying that are problematic. These are people who create problem from nowhere. Now we are working on them. The advertisement is finished. We have shortlisted them and are actually continuing to do interviews and exams. There is no job. We have not appointed anybody. And you know, I was in public service and I initiated these changes. It is not me to come and brush it aside. So we are still under process of recruitment. I think up to last week, they were actually having their exam and oral interviews. So there is nobody now. I want to please can you send somebody from those people? Let them come to me. But you see what happened. Now we advertise for Director General of Health and Safety because we don't have, and we said we put conditions that somebody should be have a background of public health. All right, only 2 people applied. First, it was one, and then we really need we re-advertise it again because at least we need people to come and compete. In that advertisement, only one. There are two of them now, and there is no way. What we do? You want we will take somebody from them. These 2 people. We want Director General, and we want also another 6 or 7 positions. All right. So they are there. We need ITs. Now nobody will have been appointed up to now. They are still under. And if please you are one of us, you just call Darius. Darius is actually the head of the team that is making the recruitment. He's the chairperson of that committee. So that is still working on it. We have not done anything. I'm very keen that we must maintain transparency and accountability. We have to be
Thank
transparent.
you.
What
Thank
I
you
need,
for
what I need is
allowing me
that qualification. That's it.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for answering that. And I hope the people who had their doubts are watching and listening in. For that position which you mentioned that only 2 applied, I would recommend re-advertisement so that those who are hearing can also apply and try their luck. Thank you for answering that. As we are running out of time, I would just like to take a few questions that were asked by members of our audience. Mr. Michael Utur was asking, how do you pay employees? By check or by cash? This is a question from Mr. Michael Utur. Then there is a second question on how the ministry deals with the issues of fake certificates. So these are 2 questions from our audience. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Uh, anyway, I will trying to answer, but it is part of the public service. I'm a means of labor, but because I was there, I will. I will ask. I will answer. Michael, of course, we are paying cash now, but there was an order that we should not pay cash. We have to force everybody to open a bank account. And then so your money is deposited into your account. But of now in public service, they are paying them, and I think when money comes, they pay cash. You cash your money, and then you go and put it to your bank account, or you don't have bank account, you put it in your house. So, but at least the public service now that they're working for everybody to have a bank account, so that the money is paid into the bank account. Now with space certificate, last year when we conducted the head count, yes, we found these irregularities, lot of fake certificates, and the public service informed the Minister of Foreign Affairs, you see, to authenticate all the certificates from international universities. And then the Ministry of Higher Education to authenticate certificate within the country, and then also the general education. We told them, those who are working, you have to authenticate all the documents. All right? I think they are working on it. There's a lot of difficulties also. And you know, sometime some people will turn into politics. All right? And we were one time accused of trying to target some people when we asked about the certificate. And it is a big case. It happened in foreign affairs. We have so many problems, and we identify them. All right. So they are working on it. But as I say, change always problematic. People resist change in a big way. But the public service is working to make sure that these are implemented. So the public service is working on it and it is a must, because now you know in South Sudan, sometimes I say these people who are buying certificates and they get employment, they're telling people that there's no need even for the university. You don't go to university. Yeah. Because if you can come and leave alone that Rangit. Now these young people, our young people, they come with this fake certificate or with authentic one. But they don't want grade 9. They want grade 2, grade 1, grade 5, grade 4. And if it's not there, and then it's not a job. And because of nepotism also, you get somebody who is a graduate, have not passed through grade 9 or 8, and what you get, that person is grade 5. What do you think that they will do in that grade 5? There's nothing. So you will get everything is completely standing still because that person doesn't know. Now, some people now in the and all the institutions of government, they cannot even write a memo. You tell somebody now you write a report about your department, they will not. Simply because they have not, and civil service is not about certificate. Sometimes it is about experience. All right? Experience. Sometimes I say it is better you take somebody with 10 years experience than the PhD holder who is a new graduate. All right? So we have a problem, but that one I think is being tackled, and with the recruitment now it is centralized. So I think it will go on well because people have to be transparent this time, and we have to make sure that all these certificates they are authenticated. Thank you. Back to you.
Yes. Yeah, just to yeah, just to follow on that point, when I started working in 1998, that was in Khartoum by then. Before you can work in a private sector institution, you are expected to have a labor card. And it's only when you have a labor card would an employer consider you as a possible candidate to recruit. Usually, to get it, you would have to go through some assessment body, which was composed of labor, humanitarian aid commission, and then the Ministry of Higher Education. So you would present your documents before them, and then they will issue you with a labor card, which then becomes your passport to get into any institution in the private sector within the Sudan. Now, in South Sudan, here with the issue of fake certificates being rampant, and also the issue of employment of non-nationals and so on, is there a plan to introduce something similar so that we have a labor card which we can use to make sure that employees are registered in our system and are vetted for authenticity of their documents? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is what I said in the beginning of my talk, that we are putting a center where we will store all the information about all the graduates anywhere in South Sudan. We will have our website, and we will encourage everybody to post all their certificate. But we are working also with NGOs, some of the NGOs, because now what you are saying, it is actually substituted by the work experience. Because if you are going to work in NGOs, you will be asked about work experience. And somebody was making a joke that this person called work experience. If I get that person, I will kill that person. And people were asking now, how will you get experience if you don't work? How do you get experience? But now what we have done now is NGOs and some companies is that we are subjecting our graduates actually into this internship, so that they have, we agree with certain NGO that sometimes they volunteer at least to get experience. They face them on the incentive here and there. So this what we are trying to do now, at least to have at least work experience. I think, and this one will bring me to your question. That's why we are encouraging companies at least to verify that, because we will task them to train. As I said, we are going to make assessment in the market. We will see the gap where we really need training. All right, and then we will tell that companies that you train people in this area, and then now they have certificate of course. All right, they have certificate, and they will authenticate all these certificate. I need to answer all this. Somebody asked now. I saw a text message that whether people are paying in dollars or in SSP. So in public service, of course, all of it is SSP. Some NGOs pay in dollars and some in SSP. But recently, the cabinet passed a resolution that all the payment must be done by SSP. We have to use our local currency as a legal tender. But otherwise, the companies, the oil companies, some of them that are paying people in dollars. Back to you, Amit.
Thank you. I think we are drawing towards the end of our show for this evening, but I'll just take two last questions from the audience and then request you to give us some concluding remarks. Mr. Adok Kulang was asking that in view of foreigners staying in the country without passports and not paying taxes, what policies and measures has the government put in place to ensure that undocumented immigrants are not permitted to enter South Sudan? This is from Adok Kulang. Then Mr. Kur Nyal is asking, why are many hotels owned by foreigners in Juba and keep asking people to pay in US dollars? So these are the two last questions I would expect to hear your response to. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have policies. Our policy is that you have to stay in the country legally. And then what we mean legally, you have to have all the documents if you are a foreigner. And as I said, because of our problem, you see, establishing new things sometimes come with a lot of problems. Leave alone that we have some foreigners now, they have even our passports, all right, that facilitated by some of our people ourselves illegally, all right. But also, as I said, the labor market assessment we are doing, we will know those who doesn't have documents, those who are staying in our country illegally, and then we will take legal actions. All right, we will know them. All right. Some people are saying here they don't pay the work permit; they are just working without paying anything. Some of them come to our country with a visitor visa, and then when they come here, they always say they work, and then they get themselves working. We are also addressing this one with migration. We are, because people come to us to come and seek a work permit. Once you are giving a visa there, we are actually interface. We will interface with migration. If we type your name there, it will give us the type of visa you have. Then we will ask you, all right? And also with NGOs, RRC, we will interface with them also. We will share all the information that we have so that we control those who will come for visiting people here or tourism or whatever, and then you deny them not to get access to come and work here. We will know them. We are going also to know those who are staying illegally here in this country. Also, we will take serious action, legal action about it. Now we have categories that we have not us, but let me tell you, we have actually workers migrant, all right, and it is a big number. Of course, us as South Sudan, we have asked the Foreign Affairs to give us detail of any Southerners who have gone out to work, leave alone those who went for a humanitarian, for settlement or whatever you call it. No, but we might have people who have gone out to work. So we ask the Foreign Affairs, if any, then they have to give us. And now also we are doing the same with the migrant, the foreigners who come here as migrants. We have to know them. Of course, some of them they come with qualifications, some of them come mujrimin and causing problem here. So these are things that we want to know now, and we are collecting information about the migrant workers. All right, and we are working on the policy of this as a region. We are taking care of it as a region, Horn of Africa and East Africa together. So policies are there, but because we have not put a stick control mechanism where we are trying now to put, that's why we are having this problem. That people are staying here. We don't know even how many foreigners who are here in this country. We don't know. But after we finish with this one, we will know it. In some cases, you sign what they call bilateral migrant something agreement. You may sign agreement with Saudi Arabia with what if they need workers. Then you can sign an agreement and then you send people. But we say this one we have to approach it with care, because sometimes we have seen in some countries some people will come and take, you see people from here, girls from Ethiopia, from anywhere, and they are mistreated there badly. And we say we have to be careful. We don't want to subject our people to all this kind of thing. And if we then we put our country in order, I don't think that there's somebody who will go and look for work outside. But if should it happen, we have to put also, we are putting also mechanisms so that they are protected. In hotels, everything depends on the capital. And then Cornell, if the hotels owners are people who have money, they came here with their money, and they put their hotels, you know. So this depend on whether we have money or not. We have very few people who have hotels yet from South Sudan, very few. The majority are foreigners because they come with their money. So, and that's why we say we have to have a very close engagement with our diaspora, so that if you have money, then you come and build hotels here or anything that you can build here, so that you can help our people. Otherwise, there is no way you will control them unless you don't want uh, people who can come and invest here. So it is difficult. They own those hotels because they come with their money, and it is not the government money. It should have been good if we have established well our system where our commercial bank they can give loan to individual here so that you can build. But that one is not there now, and people cannot give money when there is no security here. They will not secure their money should anything happen to them. That's why the hotel now it is Ethiopian and Eritrean who are really majority of this hotel, and then Kenya in banking. So most of bank, and if you know it, most of the bank, commercial bank are Kenyan commercial, and other people are Ugandan, even in NGOs are more than other people. Yeah. So, and you want me to continue with my last remark?
Yes, we have a lot of questions that I'm looking at, but we've run out of time. So I would request you to make your concluding remarks.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you very much. And I want really to give the South Sudanese Women Intellectual Forum a very special thanks. These are things that we really need to discuss. And even through your questions, I will go with something that will go and help me in planning in my ministry. Because, we say it here in labor. And one of our motto in labor, we said social dialogue and decent work. We said we need to talk. Because if you don't talk with me, I wouldn't know all your problems. What do you want me to do? Because we are here at the ministry, we are a servant to people. We have to give service to people, but they have to tell us what is not right there, what we are doing. At least we must take. So I want us to maintain these such forums, and we don't use them politically. We use them for social cohesion. We use them to help us planning well. We use them at least to advance the development of our nation. It will help us to at least to train, to give services to our people, which is really good. I like it. And as a ministry, we are ready anytime. If we are requested to discuss some issues, we will welcome it. We are going to open our website. It will be for public. We will invite anybody. If you have anything, write to us, because I will not pretend that I know everything. I don't. All right, I don't, and I believe all of us, we can do. Okay, we can do it, all of us, not me alone. So your contribution, my contribution, somebody contribution, it will make things big. And I like this type of forum when we are discussing our really social and developmental issues and not politics, because and this is what is bad. Sometimes you will get a group of people, their work is only criticism, abusing people, and without solution. I want you to criticize me and you come with solution. This solution will help me. All right, as a policy maker here, it will help me to correct things. All right. So I thank you, Amit, and with your colleagues who have really thought of this. And I know I want to give greeting also to my daughter Nyanton there. I think she was the first one who contacted me that we need you here and there. I told her that you are recruited by these people. He said, no, we are a group of women. I said, it's okay, I'm ready. No problem. So it is good. And I want to encourage you, Madam Ange, that you continue with this, expand it, inform yourself, and pick any ministry pick it, question, and then you will help us. I think we are human beings. We will benefit from whatever you might have advised us to do. So I thank you all, and on behalf of my ministry, I wish you well and good health. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Honorable Minister, for accepting our invitation. We appreciate your candid presentation of the issues the ministry is trying to, or the things the ministry is trying to do to address the concerns that we raised. As South Sudanese, labor market is an area that we have serious concerns over. And we believe that it's through dialogue where we share the difficulties and you also share the solutions that you have. And we all work together that we would be able to overcome all these problems that are currently there and affecting mostly our youth and women in this country. We appreciate the time that you have taken with us today, almost 2 hours. And with your encouragement, I'm sure we would be able to host more policymakers who would come on board and address concerns of not just South Sudan women intellectuals, but of South Sudanese in general, because this is a forum for all of us where we want to be able to bring up issues that affect our country and find possible solutions as we move forward together as one. So this is a non-political body, and I believe what we are doing is for the benefit of all of us. With this, I would say we have come to the end of our program, but before I conclude, I must thank a number of people. First, I would like to thank Across for giving us the internet connectivity that has made it possible for us today to be able to go on air live and address the issues that have been raised and to have this show today. I would also like to thank those who are working in the background. There is Ms. Aisha and Mr. Peter and the IT team from Across. Thank you for your dedication and willingness to come out on a Sunday to support us. And last but not least, I would like to thank our audience for tuning in to our program this evening. We thank you for the time you have spent and for the questions you have asked. I do apologize for not being able to pick up all the questions that were raised, but hopefully we would be able to go through them and respond to them, both the Honorable Minister and whatever I can, I would respond to also. So thank you very much to all our audience. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for the time you spent with us. I believe we are leaving this show today richer in knowledge about what the ministry is doing to help overcome the plight of the South Sudanese masses. So with this, I would like to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all our viewers. And until next time, goodbye. Thank you.